Hello and welcome to Buddha's Zen Wisdom, where we accompany you every day with insights and thoughts that make life richer and more fulfilling. As we grow older, one of the biggest concerns many people face is how to handle their aging process, especially the question of how to arrange long-term care. In our younger years, we can make spontaneous decisions about our lives, but as we age, the options we once enjoyed start to dwindle. For the elderly, traditional solutions like relying on children, hiring caregivers, or moving to a nursing home often come to mind. However, these solutions can have their own set of complications and drawbacks. Let's start by considering the option of relying on children for care. At first glance, it might seem like a good choice, as it keeps families together and offers comfort. But in reality, the generational gap between parents and children often leads to misunderstandings, tension, and disagreements. Many elderly people discover that living with their children can lead to constant arguments. What was once a peaceful parent-child relationship can sometimes become strained by the proximity and differing expectations. Eventually, some elderly individuals, after trying this approach, find themselves longing for more space and peace. On the other hand, hiring a caregiver can be costly, and many people are not able to afford this option. In today's world, hiring a caregiver can cost several $1,000s a month, which might even exceed the amount of money a person receives from their pension. This puts a financial strain on elderly individuals who are living on fixed incomes, and as a result, they might feel helpless. They wish they could afford the help they need, but financial limitations make it difficult. Then there's the nursing home. On the surface, nursing homes seem like a one-stop solution. They offer comprehensive care and take responsibility for many aspects of life, including meals, healthcare, and activities. However, the reality isn't always as perfect as it sounds. Nursing homes can be expensive, and many people find it hard to adjust to communal living. For seniors who are used to a more relaxed, independent lifestyle, the rigid schedules of nursing homes, where meals and activities are strictly scheduled, can feel restrictive and unpleasant. Additionally, with so many people living together, there is inevitably a greater likelihood of conflicts and misunderstandings. Many elderly residents of nursing homes complain about the noise and constant activity, which can make it hard for those who prefer a quieter, calmer environment. Now, let's talk about a real example from the life of a man named John. At 70 years old, John found himself at a crossroads, having experienced the death of his beloved wife 5 years earlier. They had been married for over 40 years, and together, they had promised to support each other through the ups and downs of life. When his wife passed away, John was suddenly faced with the challenges of old age alone, and his world turned upside down. Before her death, John had never worried about the intricacies of healthcare or caregiving. He was used to his wife taking care of things like doctor's appointments, prescription refills, and even the smallest details of everyday life. But after she passed, John found himself struggling with the overwhelming task of managing these responsibilities on his own. He was tired and weak, and going to the doctor became a physically exhausting task that left him drained. Even though he had 2 children, John never wanted to burden them. His son and daughter were both busy with their own lives, working hard to support their own families. He didn't want to add to their stress by asking them to accompany him to doctor's appointments or take care of his daily needs. So, John tried to manage on his own, but life had other plans. One day, while out shopping for groceries, John fell and injured himself. He ended up in the hospital, and by the time his children arrived, he had already undergone surgery and had a metal pin placed in his leg. The doctor recommended that he rest for at least 6 months. After much discussion, his children decided that the best way to share the caregiving responsibilities was for John to stay with each of them for 3 months at a time. While this arrangement helped to relieve the pressure on his children, John soon realized that he wasn't as comfortable as he had hoped. Living in his children's homes made him feel like an outsider, despite their efforts to take care of him. He was given a separate meal and told to eat alone in his room. There was a growing sense that they found his old age inconvenient, and though they were not openly unkind, John couldn't ignore the lack of patience they had when he took longer to process things or when his memory failed him. After 6 months of this arrangement, John could no longer tolerate the situation. He longed for the comfort and familiarity of his own home. Returning to his house brought him a sense of relief, but his injury left him with a permanent disability that prevented him from walking long distances. Shopping for groceries became a painful task, and he eventually decided to hire a live-in caregiver to help him with his daily needs. However, this came with a significant financial burden. The cost of hiring a caregiver exceeded his pension, and without financial support from his children, John couldn't afford it on his own. To make matters worse, the caregivers he hired were often dissatisfied with the food and living conditions. They were used to working for families that could afford to provide luxurious meals and accommodations, but John could only afford basic meals. The caregivers eventually grew tired of the situation and quit. John was left with no choice but to consider a nursing home. John chose a nursing home that was relatively inexpensive, but he soon found that the experience did not suit him. The strict schedules and impersonal atmosphere made him feel trapped. His personality was more relaxed, and he didn't feel at home in such a structured environment. After only 1 month, he decided to leave and return to his own house. He realized that he needed a different solution. Around the same time, online grocery shopping became popular, and John's daughter began helping him by ordering food for delivery. The local grocery store had a pickup point close to his home, so he didn't have to walk far, and the staff there was always kind enough to help him carry his groceries to the elevator. Over time, John struck up a friendly relationship with the couple who ran the store, and they began helping him more and more. Despite the challenges he faced, John was still worried about his future. He knew that as he got older, there would come a time when he would no longer be able to live independently. One day, while picking up groceries, John overheard the store owners arguing about money. The wife had spent a small amount of money on a gift for their daughter, and the husband was worried that it would leave them short for other expenses. That conversation sparked an idea in John's mind. He offered to pay the couple $2,000 a month if they would help him with household chores, cook meals for him, and keep his house clean. He knew that it wasn't a large sum, but it was enough to provide them with extra income and help him maintain his independence. At first, the couple hesitated, unsure about taking money for something they had been doing out of kindness, but John's persistence convinced them to accept the offer. The arrangement worked out perfectly. The couple was able to help John with the tasks he struggled with, and John found that he was living more comfortably than ever before. His anxiety about the future lessened, and he realized that this arrangement was a win-win solution. He didn't need to hire a full-time caregiver or move into a nursing home. Instead, with just a small financial commitment, he had found a way to live comfortably and independently in his own home. After a year of this arrangement, John offered to pay the couple an additional $5,000 as a reward for their care and commitment. The couple was overjoyed by the gesture and worked even harder to ensure that John's needs were met. Over time, they became like family to him. This experience taught John an important lesson: the best way to approach old age is not necessarily through traditional methods, like relying on children, caregivers, or nursing homes. Instead, it's about finding a solution that works for you, one that fits your financial situation, your personality, and your needs. By thinking outside the box and being open to new solutions, John was able to create a comfortable, independent, and peaceful life for himself in his later years. His story shows that with a little creativity and a willingness to explore alternatives, anyone can find a way to age gracefully and comfortably, even on a modest budget. As long as we stay flexible and open-minded, we can make the most of our golden years. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this story has inspired you to think about your own future and the ways you can make it as fulfilling as possible. If you haven't already, Please subscribe to our channel so we can continue to bring you daily insights. We look forward to seeing you again in our next video. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.